Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I'm sorry that I cannot be with you today, but I have a good excuse. The Commission is today adopting its reflection paper on the future of the Economic and Monetary Union, and I have to be in Brussels for this important milestone in our efforts to build a stronger euro area. But you have gathered today to discuss Greece, and there could hardly be a more opportune moment to do so. The Greek story embodies why we need more convergence and closer economic integration in Europe, and why Europe is the only answer to the political and economic challenges we face. To start with, let me be clear about one thing. Since the start of the ESM program in 2015, Greece has delivered on its commitments and been working its way along a path of recovery. I know this is not felt by all, and that social challenges especially remain. But the work of the past months has brought us close to an agreement on closing the second review of the Greek program. We will do everything to conclude as soon as possible so that we can build on the important progress made. I will continue in the name of the Commission to press that all players ask responsibly with Greece's 11 million people in mind. The Greek story shows that the EU can find solutions in the most difficult of circumstances. It shows that there is solidarity in Europe, and that solidarity goes hand in hand with responsibility. It also shows that future crises can only be avoided if we complete our economic and monetary union so that it can support a more stable future and benefit all European citizens. A key lesson from the Greek crisis is that euro area economic surveillance must be broad and deep enough to prevent imbalances. But EU funds also need to be available to address sudden emergencies or particularly acute troubles. Since 2010, our economic governance framework has been significantly strengthened. We are now much better equipped to prevent and to deal with crises, but there is no room for complacency. Greece has shown, as I said, great responsibility, delivering an extraordinary fiscal adjustment since 2010, estimated at over 16% of GDP at a time of deep economic hardship. There are numbers of lessons here. First, fiscal sustainability must be restored one way or another. Second, the costs of delays are significant, if not enormous. Third, national fiscal adjustment on its own can be very costly in economic and social terms. It thus needs to be complemented by tools at the European level. Greece's debt crisis turned into a financial crisis and a liquidity crunch. This experience painfully highlighted that severing the sovereign bank link, expanding capital markets as a source of lending to the real economy, and dealing with the legacy of non-performing loans must be the utmost priorities for the EU and for Greece in the coming years. Greece's huge fiscal consolidation, while needed, led to successive cuts in public investment, which had a larger drag on the economy than necessary. We need no better proof that a European fiscal stabilization mechanism is sorely needed to maintain public investment at times when governments need to rationalize spending. Greece has implemented important structural reforms in the midst of a prolonged crisis. These steps have been very difficult, politically, administratively, and yes, socially. Yet, they were indispensable for Greece to thrive. A more modern administration, more effective credit channels, and more resilient financial institutions, restructured sectors to provide better products and services for less money. Such examples are essential for stronger growth and job creation. Another key lesson is that we need institutional incentives to strengthen the political ownership of reforms. We also need to help governments with technical expertise to implement these changes in good times, so that their public finances and institutions are better able to absorb shocks and to deal with the bad times when these comes. Moreover, if there is one thing that we have learned from the crisis, it is that economic and social divergences can pose a risk for the viability, the future of the entire EMU. The euro area is now much more robust, as major steps have been taken to reinforce the integrity of our single currency and our single market. We have created the tools to deal with financial stress and to provide financial support where and when needed. But we do not yet have the capacity to address all the EMU's existing weaknesses. It is partly a political promise of prosperity and social fairness that our citizens expect. And on this too, we must deliver. As I have said on many prior occasions, I believe Europe must make the effort required, just as Greece is in the process of doing, to reform, to strengthen its economic dynamism, to better protect without becoming protectionist, and to reinforce those things that we do well and where we have a collective value added. That is why the Commission is today presenting a reflection paper on the deepening of the economic and monetary union. We cannot have a strong EU without a resilient economic and monetary union. A stronger EMU can help reinforce those policies that cannot be handled at member state level alone and support shared objectives like social cohesion, economic growth and financial stability. The Greek story, as dramatic as it has been, as it is, makes me hopeful that we are able to successfully face our current challenges, from Brexit to populism, economic insecurity to geopolitical challenges. Greece must now build on the major reforms it has adopted to solidify the recovery it saw emerge in 2016. It is well placed to do so. On the fiscal side, for example, Greece posted a primary surplus of 4.2% according to the program definition, hugely overachieving the program target of 0.5%. With the efforts expected to continue, Greece, that's my strong belief, is on track to also meet its targets of 1.75% in 2017 and 3.5% of GDP in 2018. Yet, growth remains tepid and must be supported as a matter of priority. We continue to believe that Greece's growth potential could average 1.3% over the long term. The EU will continue to do all it can to support jobs and growth through, for example, investment initiatives and financing. There is roughly already 36 billion euros in support of these objectives under the 2014-2020 EU budgeting period. A large portion of this remains available. And additional project funding is coming from the European Fund for Strategic Investments, the Juncker Plan, and international financial institutions like the EIB and EBRD. We have taken exceptional measures to maximize the use of these funds. Unprecedented technical support has been provided in cooperation with member states and international organizations across sectors and reform areas to enhance domestic capacity. Work to engage with investors, small and large, and to remove barriers to investment and create an open, robust business environment will be, for the future, essential. As is taking forward and building on the work done so far on privatization to maximize the value-generating capacity of state assets, as well as to draw in international investment and know-how to create jobs for Greek citizens. That is a priority for tomorrow. Last but not least, we have seen employment start to pick up. Of course, unemployment, and especially for the youngsters, remains unacceptably high. That's why investment in vocational and educational training, youth initiatives to address high youth unemployment, and active labor market policies must be enshrined as policy priorities. Work undertaken to establish a credible social safety in Greece should also be furthered. Such critical work strands should come together in a forward-looking, comprehensive and credible growth strategy. We will support the Greek authorities in whatever way possible on this. Continued implementation of the structural reforms undertaken will also be key to sustaining a recovery. That is the only way to ensure market and investor confidence and to enable Greece to regain access to financial markets and stand on its own 2 feet again. I am well aware of the challenges that remain, but I am truly confident that Greece can make it, will make it, and will open a new, optimistic chapter in its long, noble, essential history. And that also the euro area and the European project as a whole will be stronger as a result. Yes, I'm optimistic because of the optimism of the will. Thank you.